As the Nigerian proverb goes, the child who is carried on the back does not know how far the journey is. This captures the unpredictable turns that can mark a path once thought straightforward, a sentiment that rings true in the whirlwind of events surrounding former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai over the past 5 days. What began as a voluntary appearance before anti-graft investigators has spiraled into a sequence of detentions across multiple agencies, leaving him shuttled from one custody to another amid escalating probes into corruption, alleged phone interception, and related matters. This na confirmed street news. Na wetin we hear with a report, but we sure say na confirm. Abeg, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop a comment to help us grow and bring you undiluted news. The chain of events unfolded rapidly starting earlier this week. El-Rufai returned to Nigeria from Cairo, Egypt, landing at Abuja's Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, where security operatives attempted to detain him immediately. His passport was confiscated during a brief confrontation involving his entourage and agents, though he was eventually allowed to leave amid chants from supporters. The following day, he appeared on a television program, making claims about intercepted communications involving the National Security Advisor, which later formed the basis for charges against him. On Monday, he honored an invitation from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to address allegations of corruption during his 8-year tenure as governor, including claims of substantial financial irregularities. He arrived voluntarily, but after hours of questioning, he was detained rather than released that day, spending the night in EFCC custody. Reports indicate he remained there for roughly 2 nights in total, extending into a second overnight stay as investigators deepened their probe. Bail discussions emerged during this period, with administrative conditions set that required sureties from senior federal officials, including a permanent secretary and a director from a ministry. A permanent secretary initially stepped forward to stand as surety and arrived at the EFCC premises prepared to complete the paperwork. However, complications arose. The commission hesitated on proceeding, and the official ultimately withdrew from the arrangement, reportedly due to received threats that created safety concerns and reluctance to proceed. Without the surety secured, administrative bail could not be perfected, prolonging El-Rufai's stay in EFCC custody for those additional days. If this rapid succession of developments in Nigeria's anti-corruption and security landscape is keeping you engaged, take a second to like the video if it resonates, share your thoughts in the comments about how these multi-agency probes play out, and subscribe so you catch every update as this story continues to evolve. Supporters did not remain silent during these events. At points in the timeline, particularly around his initial encounters with security at the airport and amid the ongoing detention, crowds gathered in solidarity, leading to tense situations where tear gas was deployed by authorities to disperse protesters. These scenes underscored the public tension surrounding his case, with chants and demonstrations reflecting divisions over whether the actions represent legitimate accountability or targeted pressure. On Wednesday evening, around 8 p.m., the EFCC finally granted bail after the extended questioning and failed surety process. Yet, freedom proved fleeting. Witnesses described how operatives from the Department of State Services had positioned themselves in ambush at the EFCC headquarters premises. As El-Rufai exited following his release, DSS agents moved in swiftly and took him into custody on the spot. This transfer marked the latest shift in his situation, shifting focus to separate allegations tied to the Department of State Services. The DSS had earlier filed a multi-count charge at the Federal High Court in Abuja, accusing him of unlawfully intercepting communications of the National Security Advisor, failing to report such actions by others, and compromising national security through technical means in violation of cyber crimes and communications laws. These charges stemmed directly from his public statements on television. No arraignment date has been set as of the latest reports, and he remains in DSS custody pending further steps.
To understand why this matters so intensely, consider the broader context. El-Rufai's governorship in Kaduna was characterized by bold reforms, but also persistent criticisms over financial management, contract awards, and security handling in a volatile region. Post-tenure scrutiny from agencies like the EFCC, ICPC, and DSS is not uncommon for high-profile figures. Yet the overlapping timelines and rapid handovers amplify perceptions of coordinated pressure. Parallel probes include corruption allegations involving large sums, abuse of office, and other matters that have drawn statements from his legal team condemning what they describe as arbitrary actions violating constitutional rights. His lawyers have highlighted that invitations were honored voluntarily where possible, and that detentions abroad or timing issues complicated immediate compliance. The implications ripple widely. Politically, this sequence tests the boundaries of post office accountability in Nigeria, potentially signaling to other former officials the reach of investigative bodies. Socially, it fuels debates on fairness, with supporters viewing it as harassment amid his criticisms of certain policies, while others see it as essential enforcement against alleged misconduct. Security-wise, the phone interception claims raise concerns about privacy, surveillance, and national safety protocols. Economically, prolonged focus on past governance in a major state like Kaduna could influence investor confidence in public sector integrity. Public reactions remain sharply divided. Advocates and online commentators express outrage over the back-to-back detentions, describing the pattern as excessive and questioning the independence of the processes, especially with the quick DSS intervention post-EFCC bail. Some point to the tear-gassing of supporters as evidence of heavy-handed tactics. On the opposing side, those who have long called for scrutiny of his administration argue that multiple agencies pursuing separate but related matters reflects the seriousness of the allegations, not vendetta. Discussions online often highlight the irony of a once influential figure navigating these hurdles, with calls for swift court proceedings to clarify facts. Looking ahead, the coming days could bring clarity or further twists. With El-Rufai now in DSS custody over the cyber-related charges, arraignment remains possible if the court schedule allows, potentially leading to bail applications or continued detention. Overlaps with other agencies, including possible involvement from the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, as hinted in related developments, suggest this multi-front scrutiny may persist. His legal team is expected to challenge aspects of the process, while any formal responses from the agencies could address concerns over coordination or threats in surety matters. The outcome will likely shape conversations on rule of law, executive overreach, and anti-corruption enforcement for months. As this story continues to unfold with new layers almost daily, your support keeps the channel going strong. If this breakdown has helped piece together the fast-moving events, give it a like, drop a comment on what stands out most to you, maybe the speed of these shifts or the broader lessons for public figures, and subscribe for ongoing coverage of Nigeria's key developments. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned.